Mark James was a famous songwriter. He wrote very popular songs like Suspicious Minds for Elvis Presley. James died at age 83. He was born in Texas. His song, Hooked on a Feeling, was a #1 hit in the United States. He also wrote Always on My Mind for Elvis Presley. Throughout his career, many artists recorded or covered his songs. Some of these artists were Willie Nelson, Bill Withers, Brenda Lee, Jay-Z, Pet Shop Boys, and Michael Bublé. In 2000, James was called one of the best songwriters of the past century. Some others on the list were Paul McCartney and Elton John. James died at his home in Nashville, Tennessee on June 8. In a statement, his family said James had a big personality. They said his smile brightened up any room he was in. James's family said he told great stories. They said he had a sweet smile. His laugh was fun. His eyes twinkled all the time. The news that James died was first reported by the Houston Chronicle. James was born in 1940 in Houston. His real name was Francis Zambon. He liked music when he was young. In 1959, he performed locally. He recorded a song called Jive Note. James had to go fight in the Vietnam War for the Army. This stopped his music career for a while. After the war, he signed with a music company in Memphis. He wrote songs for B.J. Thomas from Houston. One of the songs he wrote for Thomas was called The Eyes of a New York Woman. It was a big hit. James also wrote the songs Hooked on a Feeling and It's Only Love. But he still wanted to be a singer himself. Caught in a Trap. James recorded Suspicious Minds in 1968. The lyrics were about his own relationships. James was married. But he still had feelings for his childhood girlfriend. She was also married. James said, "It was confusing for me. I felt trapped. All three of us felt trapped." He told the Wall Street Journal newspaper about this later. The record company thought James's Suspicious Minds would be a big hit. But it did not do well. 1 year later, Elvis Presley came to record at the same studio as James. Elvis needed new songs to record. Someone suggested Suspicious Minds to Elvis. Elvis really liked Suspicious Minds a lot. The producer said Elvis wanted to hear it again and again. Elvis learned the song right away. Elvis recorded Suspicious Minds using almost the same music as James's version. Suspicious Minds became a #1 hit for Elvis in 1969. It helped restart Elvis's career and made him popular again. Elvis Presley recorded more songs written by Mark James. Some of these hits were It's Only Love, Moody Blue, and Raised on Rock. But Elvis and James' most famous song together was Always on My Mind. First, Brenda Lee and Gwen McCrae recorded Always on My Mind. James co-wrote the song with Johnny Christopher and Wayne Carson in 1971. 2 years later, in 1973, Elvis recorded his version of Always on My Mind. At first, Elvis's record had Always on My Mind as the B-side song. But in the UK, they made it the A-side, and it became a top 10 hit. After Elvis, over 300 other artists recorded Always on My Mind. Willie Nelson's version was a big hit in 1982. It was #1 on the country music charts. James won a Grammy Award for Song of the Year. The Pet Shop Boys covered Always on My Mind in 1987. They made it into a fast, upbeat disco song. Their version was a #1 hit in the UK at Christmas time. The BBC did a poll. The Pet Shop Boys cover was voted the best cover song ever. James's songs were re-recorded by other artists as cover versions. In 1974, a Swedish group called Blue Swede recorded Hooked on a Feeling. Their pop version was a #1 hit in the US. The song got popular again when it was in the movie Reservoir Dogs. Blue Swede's singer performed it at the Eurovision contest this year. Many artists also recorded James's songs, Sunday Sunrise, and Raised on Rock. The Fine Young Cannibals had a hit in 1986 with their cover of Suspicious Minds. Zest for Life. James kept writing hit songs in the 1970s. He also released music with his band, the Mark James Trio. Later, James became interested in writing music for movies. He studied this at UCLA and the American Film Institute. He wrote the score for the 2001 short film Trade Day. He used his birth name Francis Zambon for this. In 2014, James was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He was also inducted into the Halls of Fame for Songwriters in Texas, New York, Nashville. In 2021, James talked about his career. He said he was thankful his songs are still popular. New generations of people around the world embrace his songs. B.J. Thomas was James's friend. Thomas said James could tell stories in a simple way. He said James's songs get to the point. People can relate to them. James is survived by his wife of 53 years, Karen Zambon. He is also survived by his daughters Sammy and Dana Zambon. His grandchildren and extended family are still alive too. In a statement, his family said, "Mark's love for life will live on in people's hearts." His lyrics and melodies were the soundtrack for lovers for generations.